A few months ago, the Huffington Post joined with McKinsey & Company, CrowdRise, and the Skoll Foundation to create an innovative program that would help to change the conversation on the employment crisis, the JobRaising Challenge. This initiative not only raised awareness, it raised over $1.2 million, and that's on top of the $250,000 donation from the Skoll Foundation. The challenge came to a close this weekend and concluded with a nail-biting final hour in which $185,000 was raised. JVSLA wound up beating runners-up Venture for America by a mere $900. But everybody wins because on top of the amounts that each organization raised for themselves, Venture for America will receive an additional $50,000 and JVSLA will receive $150,000. We're thrilled to be joined with some of the participants of this challenge. In studio, I have with me Arianna Huffington. We also have Andrew Yang. He is the CEO of Venture for America, the runners-up. And in our Google Hangout, we have Brittany Betcher from the Skoll Foundation, Alma Zavala, a veteran from Iraq and client of JVSLA, and Vivian Siegel, CEO of GVSLA. They are the winners of the JobRaising Challenge. Arianna, can you believe how quickly this has all gone?
Well, how quickly and how amazing the results have been. I really want to congratulate Vivian for winning the competition by $900. It was nail-biting, wasn't it? And the amazing last day and last hour when over 100,000, over 150,000 was raised. When we'd love to know how you got your supporters to actually rally at the end to make sure that that their nonprofit won. But I also want to thank the HuffPost community,
Absolutely.
including all of you at HuffPost Live, because we had hundreds of blog posts, thousands of tweets. So beyond raising all this serious money, we raised awareness. I mean, a lot more people in America know about JVCLA and know about Venture for America and know about Baker Industries and know about which came third and know about all the other amazing not-for-profits. Over 700 finalists, and they were from many states, from many cities. So part of what we wanted to do was to show that the media have a responsibility to put the spotlight on good things happening, not just on what is dysfunctional.
So exciting. Vivian, I would love to hear your answer to Arianna's question. How'd you rally those troops towards the end?
You know, our donors got very excited. I really think it's similar to when you're in an auction and you see the prize and all of a sudden they realize that to be able to leverage their donation with another $150,000 became very, very exciting. And our board president, our major donors, all were following this on their computers and realized, oh my goodness, we really are close. And they all rallied. And I think the excitement just spurted, and we were flabbergasted at what came in the very end, and clearly excited. And as you said, the real winners in all of this are our clients, and we couldn't be happier for all of them.
Yes, I can't wait to hear from Alma about her experience working with all of you. But I have to ask, Andrew, did you experience the same thing? Was there increased interest towards the end there?
Very much so. And to echo what Vivian said, our board and donors also became very competitive down the stretch. It reminded me of an eBay bid where at the final moments you're trying to make sure you have just enough to get the item. But in this case, the item was a grant that you know, obviously any organization would be really excited to get. So hats off to you, Vivian, and your organization, because I was on the other side of that computer at midnight Eastern time on Friday. So congratulations.
The millennial in me really wishes that there were a tie and that everyone walked away the big winner. Brittany, I am curious, you know, this clearly is a winning model. Is there a way to bring this to scale?
Well, absolutely. I think that was something that we really wanted, we were really intrigued by as part of this competition, by offering the platform of the Huffington Post and coming together with CrowdRise, how nonprofits can really use crowdfunding to secure those really hard to come by funds for things that are not secured to their projects. So being able to hire more people in the end to reach, as Vivian mentioned, the real people that are benefiting from this, folks such as Alma.
Yeah, I really want to thank the Skoll Foundation because it all started with you, Brittany, and Sally Osberg, your CEO, and Jeff Skoll, both offering the $250,000 prize money, but also the idea that we need to look for job creation, not just to small businesses and large business, but to nonprofits, which are actually employing a large number of people and could be employing an even larger number of people if they had the resources. So thank you to everybody at SCOL. We are incredibly grateful, and we want to do many more things together.
It was a real dream team. I mean, the different resources that everyone was bringing to the table, the fact that everyone seemed to work together but stay in their lane, a real testament to what you can do when you have such great partners.
And of course, I have to thank my phenomenal Chief of Staff, Dan Coe,
Daniel's been amazing,
who was utterly obsessed with this.
He needs to put that business degree to good use.
Yeah. No.
I do want to ask you, Vivian, if you could just give the people who are watching our community a sense of the work that you do, who it is you help.
JVS LA is actually over 80 years old. We service about 30,000 clients throughout all of Los Angeles. And many of our clients have barriers to employment, from newly unemployed, first-time immigrants and refugees, clients with disabilities. Alma, whose story you'll hear, a vet who served our country and needed some assistance as she's coming back. Clients with disabilities, such as our partners or our competitors, actually, Baker Industries in Philadelphia, similar populations. So for us, it's helping our clients achieve self-sufficiency. And our tagline is really building better lives, one job at a time. And our mission is whatever it takes to help someone get back into the labor market.
Yeah, I mean, Alma, you are among our best and our bravest. Were you surprised when you returned from Iraq how difficult it was to find employment?
Absolutely. It was actually a very bitter situation that I actually had to face. When I got back from Iraq, I went back to college. So I actually went to college and I got my degree. And I had just graduated in 2011. And being a veteran and a college graduate, I was actually quite shocked that I couldn't find employment.
Mm-hmm. And what type of training did you receive through your work with JVSLA?
Well, in the military, I was a corpsman, so I had all sorts of medical skills that I couldn't use as a civilian because it doesn't translate. Mm-hmm. The military, that's where JVS came in. They actually paid for me to get my certification as a phlebotomist, which is something that I did on a daily basis in the Navy, but I couldn't do it as a civilian without going through this state exam, taking the state exam, and it was quite expensive, and they actually paid for it. And after that, they helped me find employment.
And are you working now, Alma?
I am.
See, that's the human face on all of this, and it's very easy to get swept up in the competition, but one of the elements of this that I loved was pivoting the conversation away not just from creating new employment opportunities, but really training people for jobs that exist and are out there and aren't being filled.
Absolutely, and that's why, going back to the conventions, when we first created this expo with startups, over 100 startups, including Andrew and his team, and now the fact that Andrew will be able to take the work of Venture for America to two new cities, Baltimore and Cleveland, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Would love you to tell us a little bit about that, because again, that's very tangible to your point, that to actually be able to bring in additional people to expand the work you're doing.
So what Venture for America does is we recruit top college graduates to work at startups and growth companies in Detroit, New Orleans, Providence, Cincinnati, and Las Vegas. And as you say, Ariana, we're expanding to Baltimore and Cleveland this year in part thanks to the SCOL grant.
That is, but those are areas where if you're a top performer, you might say Cleveland. Do I really want to move to Cleveland? Is that part of the challenge?
Well, there are dozens of exciting emerging companies in Cleveland, and if you go spend time there, you get a sense of it. But one of the things that we found is that graduates are excited about these opportunities as long as there are a few things in place to help support them. So one is a sense of community and network. So if you were to go to Cleveland alone, that might not be appealing for a 22-year-old, but if you're going with 12 of your new best friends that you met during the summer before, then that's actually very exciting. They also get a training camp for 5 weeks at Brown University before they embark on this journey. So for a recent graduate who's looking for a sense of skill development, training, exposure to startups, and a network for life, Venture for America becomes a very appealing option, despite the fact that maybe Cleveland or Baltimore might not be the first city top of mind.
So I want to say something nice about Cleveland and Baltimore. I don't want us to be inundated with hate mail.
Well, agreed. I couldn't agree more.
I mean, they're beautiful cities, but I do think that that this is part of the challenge with new graduates, which is they either tend to move home or they tend to move to big metropolitan cities, and it does mean that there are opportunities that simply aren't fulfilled in some of these smaller cities. And I'm curious, both the money you raised and the money that you received by virtue of being runners-up, what is that going to allow you to do?
Well, it's about reaching out to these people and building bridges. So if you're a senior at one of these college campuses, the options you believe are available to you are the options that are presented to you. So the money helps us go on campus, hold information sessions, recruitment events, let people know about the opportunities that are in Baltimore, Cleveland, Detroit, New Orleans. Because as you said, they're not going to go there unless they have a sense of the options that are available.
Now, Vivian, what's the money that I mean, this is a huge chunk of money. $150,000 is the type of money you spend chasing one big donor for years on end. What's it going to allow you to do?
The 150
on top
is
of
on
what
top
they've
of
raised.
what you've raised. So the total is over 400,000, right, Vivian?
Yeah.
Well, certainly we want the money to go to direct client impact. And one of the proposals was to hire a job developer that actually goes out and finds those employment opportunities for the 30,000 clients we see, which is what's clearly critical. And then we look at some of the programs, the training programs we're currently offering, and want to look at expansion. We really believe in the public-private partnership, and we run programs like BankWorks that train individuals for jobs in the banking industry. HealthWorks that train individuals to be certified nurse assistants, as that's a growing industry. So wanting to continue to seek out the growing industry, the unmet need, and be able to find sustainable careers with career trajectories for our clients. Similar to what Alma faced, taking the skills she had and finding her some training that would allow her to become employed.
You know, Brittany, it's impossible not to watch this and wonder if it changes the game for foundations as well, if it means that this type of incentivizing donations by matching donations, by having a form of competition, is really a model that needs to be used in the future.
Well, you know, I think that's one of the exciting things here is we kind of went into this not really knowing what would come out. And I think that both the things that we're hearing from Vivian and from Andrew, one side that this is able to help JVSLA really expand the services that they're already offering by really bridging that gap between jobs that are available and people that need skills in order to fill those positions. And also on Andrew's side, having people being able to expand to Cleveland and Baltimore and really creating jobs in communities that need them. And I think that as far as using this as a platform to continue to fundraise in the field of philanthropy, I think it's something that is still very nascent, but needs to be paid attention to. I think that this challenge has been extremely successful, in most part due to the nonprofits that really engaged their networks and expanded their donor bases, and we're really excited to engage in this and raise really bring awareness around one single issue to have impact.
I love what Brittany said, because we see here that social media allowed the nonprofits to use their networks in really effective ways. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we haven't mentioned that I loved was all the little incentive prizes that were given along the way. So for example, there was a period when if you raised the most money over the next 12 hours, you would get 5 blog posts on the front page of the Huffington Post. So there were a lot of little prizes along the way like that, that both kept the competition going. It meant that people who did not win first or second prize nevertheless still got tremendous exposure, which they can use to raise money, but also raise awareness, because money is not the only factor. Getting more volunteers, even more, getting more clients in the case of JVC to know, about what is available. All these things are very important for nonprofits, and normally they don't have the marketing budget to be able to get the word out, right, Andrew? Isn't that part of the benefit?
Definitely in terms of reaching out to social media and activating and galvanizing supporters, and also getting the word out about the work that our organizations do. Venture for America is a very new organization. We're less than 2 years old. So if you haven't heard about us out there, that's probably at least one of the reasons why. And I couldn't agree with you more, Ariana. The exposure was worth its weight in gold for us.
That is so exciting. Now, do you feel like part of what you're taking away from this is wanting to do more positive, good stories? I mean, you started by saying so often the media focuses on what's wrong and what's bad. This was an amazing opportunity to showcase some great work.
Yes, obviously, we do our share of focusing on what is dysfunctional every day. But I'm proudest of the work we do, focusing on what is working, on what is amazing in America, so that it can scale and be replicated. And especially as we see how dysfunctional Washington has become and how hard it is to get any solutions out of Washington, increasingly people are looking into the mirror, really, and seeing the leader in the mirror and saying, what can I do to be part of the solution, rather than simply talking about the problems. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing with our good news section, with our impact section, and finding innovative ways like this to actually up the ante.
So exciting. Vivian, can you tell me what you're going to take away from this challenge beyond the incredible sum of money that you have raised and been gifted?
I think it's the opportunity to capitalize on what we've done. As we talked about, really the grassroots effort of having our clients and our staff and new donors who had exposure through the use of social media, and that an impact gift of $10 or $20 makes a tremendous amount of difference. And I think the visibility is, we always say we're the best kept secret, and it allows us really to advocate both locally on a national stage of the whole awareness of the job crisis and what we need to do and how we need to develop training programs and develop employment opportunities on behalf of our clients.
And 80% of all donations were under $100. So a lot of small donations from people who didn't have a lot of money, but they wanted to be part of this job-raising effort. Mm-hmm. And I want to really make sure that, Vivian, everybody in your organization and your clients, and Andrew in yours, plus all the other finalists, know that we would love to continue providing exposure for what you are doing. For example, we'd love to have Alma write a blog about your experience, Alma, of working with JVC, what it led to, and inviting all your other clients to write, do videos, do slideshows. We see this as an ongoing partnership. We don't see as the end. This is really a new beginning of working, as we have been working with Andrew and his organization since the convention, to continue to put the spotlight on the amazing work you're doing.
Yeah, and one of the, I'm going to ask for the cliff notes for your forthcoming blog post, which is, do you think that entrepreneurs carry the key to answering the job crisis?
I think it's asking a lot of entrepreneurs. I certainly think...
I can't ask anything of Washington, so I got to ask a lot of entrepreneurs.
I think entrepreneurs have a huge role to play, but I think one of the myths about entrepreneurship is that it's an individual sport or accomplishment. I'm sure Ariana can attest to the fact that that you need a team, you need support, you need institutions and organizations around you that that help push you to where you want to go. So I think entrepreneurs are a big part of the solution, but still that there are other roles for everyone to play.
Yeah, and nonprofits to play. I mean, Vivian, so often nonprofits are not considered necessarily to be engines of growth, to be, employment opportunities, to be retraining opportunities. And yet right now, people can't rely on the government. We're in the middle of a sequester where funds are going to be cut for programs just like the one that you run. So it seems that nonprofits are really there to fill some of that void.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I really agree that we would welcome the opportunity to continue the visibility and to have our clients write in and really share their stories, their challenges, their victories, because I think that educates the community. And again, I think it's our responsibility to try and fill the void and come up with the creative ways to be able to put America back to work. And I don't think it's relying on government funding.
And Vivian, you had spoken a little bit earlier about, partnering with the private sector and just how important that was. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, for example, our bank teller training program, they were 8 major banks that had a need for tellers. And we said to them, we went out and we say to employers, where is your pain? Where can we fill the void? Because if we want to develop a training program, we want to ensure that there are jobs at the end of the training program. And they said, if you can do the assessment for us, if you can do all the soft skills training, develop the basic curriculum in partnership with the banks will provide the funding for the program, and we provide the training, and it's a win-win. And at graduation, you see 30 individuals who 6 weeks ago were slumped over, didn't have a lot of confidence, now walk into that graduation room full of confidence with the bank HR people in the room doing the interview as soon as the students have gotten their diplomas. So most of them walk out of that graduation with a job. And the same in the healthcare industry. There's such a shortage of certified nurse assistants and those with the skills to move on to licensed vocational nurses, registered nurses. We're here to provide the training to fill the gap. And it's the private sector and the foundations giving us some of the seed money and the corporations to provide that partnership, and everyone wins and benefits.
Vivian, you've been doing this work for a very long time, and yet it seems like we're in an entirely unique moment in our nation's history when it comes to finding employment, finding enough employment. Do you see that bearing out with the people you serve?
You know what? I'm the optimist. I've been doing this for 35 years. And at that point, it's a labor of love. It's a passion. And my feeling is if I can change one person's life, I've made a difference. And I'm very fortunate to have a truly committed board and innovative staff. And we're always looking for new ways to make a difference and have an impact on the community we serve.
Are you equally optimistic?
Well, I'm sort of congenitally optimistic, being both Greek and a naturalized American. It's a double whammy. I was just going to say that our Los Angeles section is going to be splashing, the work of the JVC today. So again, it's great that we have a section where the winner is based that can actually continue tracking the work at the local level, the way we will continue tracking the work at the national level. And among the cities where you are, Andrew, we only have Detroit, because you're not in Chicago yet, or in Washington, or in Denver. So either we need to expand or you need to expand.
Both.
Or both, yeah.
I'm sure we'll beat you in the middle before long, Ariana.
It's very exciting, though, especially because, as you said, it's hard to get that type of attention when you're a nonprofit. It's not the sexiest meme to always be selling. And Alma, I'm curious to hear from you. I mean, what would you say to someone? There's so many Americans who are in a spot that you were in. There are both veterans that are coming back now from Afghanistan, from Iraq, and it is not easy for them to find employment. And then there are plenty of Americans who just been here and have been out of work for a very long time. What is your counsel to someone who's watching, who's applying every day for a job and not hearing back?
Well, that was me a year ago, and it's funny that Vivian said that one of the most important things that gets her going is the fact that she changes people's lives. I can honestly tell you that JVS changed my life. A year ago, I couldn't find employment. I was at the verge of becoming homeless. That's the darkest. JVS came into my life when I was really, really in need of just unconditional help, and they did. They helped me. I got employment, and to this day, I still reach out to them whenever I need advice, not necessarily financial advice, but the moral support. And I think that's what separates them from the rest of the organizations, that as a veteran, I still need that. I still need that support. And it's the stuff that I find in them. And whenever opportunities like this come across, that I have the opportunity to explain and tell my story, I am delighted. I am honored to stand here and tell you that JVS, that changed my life. And I'm so happy they won, because I know that they're going to continue to change a lot of other people's lives.
Alma, thank you so much for your service and for sharing your story. I don't think JVS could find a better messenger. Vivian, thank you for all of your work. Brittany, thank you for being such an excellent partner. Ariana, for taking time to come down and speak with us today. Andrew, thank you for being here. It is nice to have you in studio. For those of you who want to learn more, there are plenty of links available in the resources below. You're watching HuffPost Live.